Hello YouTubers, what we're going to do today is we are going to take some shrink plastic and then turn it into some peep charms so we can make me an Easter necklace. I love peeps, they are one of my favorite things, so we are going to turn them into a necklace. So you will need your shrink plastic. This is the brand that I have right now. Any brand will work, and I will leave a supply list with links down in the description below of everything that we're using. So shrink plastic, any brand will work, but this is the brand that I'm specifically using. And then obviously a heat gun or an embossing tool to shrink your plastic down. We are going to print off the designs. We're going to scale them in Silhouette Studio, and then we're going to print them on my cheap HP printer. So you're going to need a design. It can be something actually that you cut from a magazine, or you just need a design. Either you got to print it or you got to find it. We are going to use Posca markers. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the black details on the front are going to be in Sharpie, and then the color is going to be in Posca markers. I've tried every marker that I have in my collection that I can find. These seem to work the best. I can't find any that work any better. This is an alcohol marker. You can see what a hot mess it is. And then this was Sharpie. Like a colored Sharpie. The black Sharpies work well, so do some of the metallic ones, but like you can see every striation on this guy from the marker. And then when it came out of the oven, I tried to do more coloring, and it actually ended up just taking it off. Another thing is make sure you save all the scraps, because what you can do is draw on them and then shrink them to see what the color is going to look like. The color will get darker when it is shrunk. So keep that in mind with any marker that you choose. The colors will get darker. So we are going to, you're also going to need a hole punch. I have this crazy one from We Are Memories Keeper. It's nice to have, but you don't need anything this fancy. It just changes hole size. You don't need anything this fancy. A standard hole punch will work. And then we're going to UV resin them to give them that like dome sealed kind of look. So that shiny, domey, sealed kind of look. So we're going to use UV resin and the nail dryer. And then you're going to need some kind of Modge Podge or sealer before you put the resin on there. If you don't, the resin will absolutely come off. I can guarantee it. So a Modge Podge or a sealer of some kind. And then this is a silicone brush for applying resin. And then I'm going to make this into a necklace. So you would need your necklace or your jewelry findings. You could do this as a necklace, as a bracelet, as earrings, anything you want to. This is a necklace like starter kind of kit that I got from JoAnn's the other day. But any necklacey jewelry thing will work. So let me go show you how to size this, and then we'll go put it in Silhouette Studio. All right, so what I did is I took a 3x3 inch square of my unshrunk plastic, and then the shrinky film I have right now says it shrinks by about 1/3. So when I put the 3x3 square in a perfect world, it should be 1 inch by 1 inch. It was 1 1/4 ish. And so what I did to find out our scale is you take your original measurement divided by what you got, which is 2.4. We're going to multiply it by 100. So it's 240%. So what size I want needs to be multiplied by either 240%, or you can multiply each measurement by 2.4. We're going to use the scale tool in Silhouette Studio, so there's no real hard thing about it, but you need to do this, because if you don't, you're going to end up with crazy size things. This is for the specific shrink plastic that I have right now. I ordered some new stuff today, and it says by 50%. So this measurement and this math would be different. So definitely do this unless you want crazy size charms. Alright, so you can use any program you want to. We're in Silhouette Studio just because it's the one I use the most often. And this is our little peep. All of these little peeps will be on my webpage. For this set will be $1 if you want them. So if you want your peep to be, so go in originally and make it whatever size you want it to be. Now you can wing it. and just use the side measurement and make it about 1 inch. So see how he's about 1 inch, or come over here, make sure your aspect ratio is locked. Make sure it's locked, and then you can make it exactly 1 inch if you want to. Now, so that's what size we want him to be, a finished size. I want my finished size on my little chick to be 1 inch. Now, to the size we're going to have to draw out on the shrink plastic, we're going to take this and we're going to scale it by 240%. And that is the size we need to print out so that when we trace him and shrink him, he'll be about 1 inch on the finished product. I've also been adding a little circle. You can hold down the shift key to make a perfect circle. And that's where we're going to hole punch. And that is all there is to it. This is my little set of peeps that I'm going to print. And we're going to trace them. So when you do draw these or color them, you're going to want to make sure you all do them the same direction on the shrink plastic. So my shrink plastic's going up and down. I don't want to then do one bunny going up this way. The reason why is the shrink plastic doesn't shrink the same way. It'll shrink one way this way, and it'll shrink differently this way. So if you want to keep all your charms consistent, shrink them all the same, have them all going the same way so that they shrink all the same. Now, I'm going to do a Sharpie on the front, and I'm going to color in eyes and her nose. Now this is a fine point Sharpie, actually ultra fine point Sharpie. I like this for all these little details. The Posca markers have a really fat tip on them, so it's really hard to get all these little details. And I mark, this is where my hole punch is going to go. So I like to let that kind of dry off for a second, or so you're not going to smear it. And then we're going to flip it over. Okay, and then when you take it up, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little bit of white in the eye right there. So make sure you fill it in. This is fairly forgiving because it's going to shrink, and you honestly probably wouldn't have even noticed that. But definitely put it back down on white and make sure you don't have any areas that you missed. Really slippery paper, or it's plastic, it's slippery. So keep that in mind. Also, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it will shrink, and odds are you'll never even notice if you had something not perfect. So we're gonna then flip it over and then line it up. All right, so we flipped him over and lined it all up-ish. Now you're just gonna outline your bunny, and we're gonna color it in. All right, so that is our finished colored in peep. And now what you're gonna have to do, and the hardest part of this whole thing, is you gotta wait for it to dry. Let's see. So see where it's shiny? There you go. See where the shiny is, it's still wet. And see at the very top, tippy top of the ears where it started to turn a little matte? That is where it is dry. So what I like to do is just cut it out, and then you can keep working and just set it to the side to dry, and then you can keep working. So set them to the side and then make as many as you want to. They're all done the same way. The black details go on the front. The black details go on the front, and then flip it over and color in with whatever color you want to on the back. All right, so you want to wait for them to dry, so they need to be matte on the back, no shiny. And then I like to hole punch first, and then this is a standard hole punch, so I use it. And then some of the smaller ones, I make a little, I either use that one or that one, but you can use the standard hole punch. Hole punch. And then we're just gonna cut this out with regular scissors, gently. Now the thing you've got to remember is that shrink plastic will want to tear. So for like this little sharp turn here, you're gonna need to flip it and come in and cut it that way so that you don't risk trying to like do some maneuver where you turn it and then tear it. So keep that in mind. If you do happen to tear it, it's really forgiving. Odds are once it's baked, you probably won't ever notice. So, unless you like decapitate your bunny. Now, I don't know if you can see, but there's some areas that it'll come off on. If it does, don't worry. What you can do is, after you get done cutting out, you can go back in with your marker and fill out any areas. But like I said, once again, odds are you probably won't notice once it shrinks down. Also, your hole does have to be made before you shrink it. Once you shrink the plastic down, there's no way you're getting a hole in this stuff. It's hard. It's hard plastic. And then I've just been cutting across the top here. There we go. And I'm going to finish this with the rest of our little bunnies here. Alright, so I have a little convection oven in my basement that I use for the sublimation tumblers. That's where this is from too. You don't need a temperature thing for this at all. And then this is the tray that goes in it. It is currently upside down because I melted stuff to the bottom of it. They're right side up, so we're using the bottom. And basically, you need to place these guys on here. I also wanted to show you. See my glasses and my nose, they're really, really not perfect. Do not get caught up on them having to be perfect or anything like that. So what you want to do is you want to place your little guys Posca marker on the sheet, or the Sharpie marker needs to come up. The Sharpie marker will adhere, will come off, will transfer onto this if you don't, if you put it on that side. So you want your Sharpie marker up. And then I use the good old Bath & Body Works candle. So when they come out and they're still a little curled up, I squish them flat using this. And I only put maybe 2 in at a time. This is a glitter marker I just got. Honestly, no earthly idea what it's going to do. We're going to find that one out together. So why don't we put in 3? What I do is I put them into a cold oven. And then wait for them to curl up. And when they start to flatten back out, take them out, and then I put them on top of the little convection oven and then squish them flat. You can totally use a heat gun. You can also totally use your home oven. They are non-toxic, so they can go in your standard oven. So I took them out and forgot to turn on the camera. Bath & Body Works candles on top of them, so that when they're curling, you can make sure that they lie flat again. And we let them wait until they cool down. There we go. I love this. This is so cool to me. So there we go. These are little bitty ones. And then this is our sunglasses peep. And then this is the glittery one. That purple. It's kind of dark, but that's kind of pretty and glittery. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to resin these, or I'm going to do UV resin on them. You need to Modge Podge them first, or seal them in some way first, because if you don't, what happens is the resin will literally just peel right off. Now, and I promise it will. It'll look good, and then it'll slowly just curl its way off. I've had it happen to me, so I promise it'll happen. So you just need like a thin coat to go over your plastic, your shrink plastic. It doesn't have to be anything high tech by any means. You can also get out a whole brush if you want to do that, but some some Modge Podge until, and then we got to wait again until it dries. And you're going to need to do, so I resin the front and the back. So I do the fronts, wait for them to dry, and then I'll do the back as well. Now you do want to make sure you don't have any giant bumps in it, because if you do, you will be able to see it once you resin it. So I attempt to mostly make it flat. All right, so I have them covered in Modge Podge. You can't really tell, but I Modge Podge the front and the back so we can get our resin to stick. And this is the bottom of my nail dryer. I like to just resin in that. This way I don't have to like touch them when I move them. And I'm going to do this pretty quick. I've got a whole video on how to UV resin. If you have any questions or you don't know what it is, basically we're just going to put this on top and it'll give it a shiny, smooth, finished look. Basically is all there is to it. And you could add any number of glitter or like shaped glitter things to it. Anything you kind of really wanted to into the resin as well. So, and I do have a longer, yappier video, and I'll put the link up above to it. So we're going to do this a little bit quick. And then these are silicone brushes. They're technically makeup brushes, but I think they'd be really bad for that. But they're nice because nothing sticks to them. And the thing you want to make sure of, and this is one reason I like doing it in a tray, is you can hold it up and make sure you're not missing any places. So I'm going to resin, and then it cures for 3 minutes under the light, and then we'll assemble our necklace. All right, so we got the front all done, and you can see how it gives it like a domey, polished kind of look. And now I'm going to flip them over and do the back. Well, if you get done with your resin and any of it is sticky or tacky feeling, then it's not fully cured and it needs to go back in the little, back in the nail dryer again. Also, mine is 3 to 4 minutes, I think it is in the nail dryer, 2 to 4. So I normally do 4. Check your resin. If you don't end up with this one, check your resin. Also, you don't have to do this. If you can use something else to seal them if you want to, or you can just not seal them at all. If you don't seal them all, you can potentially scratch off some of your marker, depending on what you're doing. But you don't have to, or you can seal them with some kind of other spray. I'm sure there are other options out there. So this is just what I like to do to kind of give them a finished look. All right, so we got our little charms all resined. I resined the front and the back, so they're all sealed up, and they look really professional, like something legitimately you could buy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make them into our necklace. Now I cheated, I guess. This is going to be the easiest way to possibly make a necklace. I bought this chain. It was a big long strand. I bought it at JoAnn's in their jewelry making department. And it's just a bunch of links, and we're just going to link our little charms to it. So I have 2 pair of pliers. One is pointy and one is flatter. And what I like to do is hold with the pointy ones and then move with the flat ones. And then you can obviously take it apart like you want to, and then you can add things to it as well. And this is basically how we're going to put together our necklace. Let's see, move them back together. So what I did is I made this necklace, I made it 20 inches long. I used my little board here. And then in the middle, this is 10 inches, and that's where I put my pink one with the pointy sunglasses and the pearls. By the way, the pearls were put on top. It was a white marker, and I put them on top. And then I've done them every 3, I think, is what we were shooting for. It may be a little off, but you know, whatever. So every 3 we've hooked on a charm, basically. So, and it's really easy. I got this kit, God, a million years ago, probably from Amazon. And it's all different sizes. They're called jump rings. And then it's got clasp at the end. So I put a clasp here on the end, all done with the same open up, close little circles. And so same thing here, you're going to, I already opened this jump ring, and I put it through the hole where, put it through the top of our little peep here. 2, 3, and then we're gonna put it, I've been trying to put them on the bottom bit here of our chain. And you put it through, and sometimes I just hold them, and then you just close it back up. Now, depending on your fingers, sometimes you can just open and close the circles with your hands too. It does make them a little tender after a minute. So keep that in mind. But that's basically all there is to it. You can also do earrings the same way with some earring findings. I don't have pierced ears anymore, so I don't ever make earrings. 1, 2, 3. So I don't ever make earrings anymore. See, like that one, I was closing my ears. But you could do earrings, you could do more necklaces. Now, there are much more complicated ways to make a necklace. You absolutely could make a necklace and string beads up to it, and attach them with different jump rings and things like that. Now, this is probably the easiest way to make a necklace. The other cool thing is you could probably pop all these guys off and put on different charms if you wanted to. You could also add pearls and beads to this if you wanted to, and attach them all the same way with jump rings. It's really kind of, the possibilities are endless for this way. You can make any charms you want to and attach any variety of charms, beads, bangles, anything you want to this. So I hope you liked this. I hope you made it to the end. I know it turned out to be a really long video. One day I will learn how to make a short video. Today is apparently not going to be that day either. So please like and subscribe to our little channel where I make random craft stuff. If you have any questions, let me know and I will do my best to answer them. Thank you so much for watching.